I'm completely bowled over by what we've just heard from Navia and Suhana. I think I probably wouldn't have said I'd come and talk if I'd known who I was going to have to follow. So, and I just want to say that actually it's just as amazing to hold your first published novel when you're 54 as when you're 12. But I think I'm all about persevering. I think this is probably not very inspiring for children, but it might be inspiring for adults in that I wanted to be a writer since I was 6. And I just got distracted by various things along the way, but I finally got round to it. And I can agree with what they said about draft after draft after draft, but I finally did manage to get The White Phoenix published 2 years ago. So I'm absolutely delighted to be here. And I'm really, really interested in what Suhana said about the biggest tip about organising and keeping things in the right place, because I'm writing my second book at the moment and I have not been organised about my research, and I'm constantly looking through my notebooks. Oh, I know I wrote that somewhere, where is it? So that's a brilliant tip, Suhana. Thank you very much for reminding me.
Just going to show you, so this thing, that arrow is your next slide.
That one, okay. Okay, so I'm just going to start with a very quick reading, well, a very short reading, not quick, I'll try not to read it too quickly, from my novel The White Phoenix, which is set in London in 1666, which you probably are aware was when the Great Fire of London happened. And this is just a very short extract from when the fire starts. So she's jerked out of, the main character is called Lizzie, and it's narrated by Lizzie. Minutes later, we were out in the street, blinking at the smoke and flames pouring out of Thomas Farriner's bake shop, a few doors down from Uncle Bird's. People tumbled out of adjoining houses, shouting and coughing, strange dark shapes in the flickering orange light. Lizzie! I looked up to see Mary's head poking out of a window above me. Take this! A bundle came flying out of the window and thudded onto the cobbles. Uncle Bird grabbed it and stuffed it into a handcart. Quick, Elizabeth, he said, turning to Mother. Take Marjorie and fill the other cart with whatever you can take from the bakehouse. The loaves from yesterday, that new bag of flour, my utensils. Don't forget some jars of ale. You and Mary take both carts to the top of the lane and wait outside the Green Dragon alehouse on Eastcheap. We'll come and find you. Ralph, Lizzie, come with me. We ran over to where a double line of people were passing buckets of water from a pierced water pipe under the street up to the burning building. Soon my hands were flying backwards and forwards, passing the empty buckets down the road to be refilled. The men at the top of the line hurled water onto the fire, but it didn't seem to be doing any good because flames were leaping out of the top floor of the bakery and spreading at roof height. Smoke and sparks swirled through the air, and I paused to tie my handkerchief over my nose and mouth to stop myself choking. Curse this wind, exclaimed Uncle Bird. The fire's got too much to feed on. We need to start pulling down these houses. Where's the Lord Mayor? He disappeared to talk to a knot of men with long firehooks further up the lane. I could hear the muffled bells of St. Magnus's ringing out over the roar and crackle of the flames, and my face began to sting with the heat. So that's just a short extract from the book. Now, I'm going to make this work. Oh. Yay, it did work, thank you. I was pressing the wrong one. So I'm sure that all you children that have been doing this amazing creative writing course with Author in Me, I'm sure you know everything there is to know about writing now, but I just wanted to tell you just a few things, a behind the scenes look at how I came to write The White Phoenix. You probably all know that you kind of basically need 3 things when you are writing a novel. You need setting, you need characters, and you need a plot. Now, I always start off with a setting, which is not necessarily the best way to write a novel, but I can't help it, it's the way my brain works. So I started off with a setting of the Great Fire of London, which was something I'd been interested in since I was a small child, for some reason, not quite sure why. I then, when I was starting to think about what I wanted to write about, I thought about writing about the Great Fire. And I was hoping to get the book out in time for the 350th anniversary, which would have been 2016, but I missed it by about 4 years. Anyway, enough about that. So there's lots of exciting things that obviously can happen during a fire. There's lots of opportunities for drama and action. And so that was something that I thought I would be able to write about. Another good thing about writing about the Great Fire of London is that there's lots of research being done about it. Lots of contemporaries were writing about it. So there's loads of stuff that you can put into your novel that you can get from contemporary sources to make it sound like it's really happening, and you can really sort of make everyday life come to life. So I started to research the year. I started to research 1666, and to my delight, I found that there were all sorts of things that would make it even more exciting that I didn't realise when I just was thinking about the fire. So in 1666, England was at war with Holland and with France. So that was a potential conflict in the background. And of course, you probably all know from school that the year before the Great Fire was 1665, the year of the Great Plague. So that was another sort of thing about that can create an atmosphere of fear. This is one of the bills of mortality they used to fill in to say how many people had died of what in London. And you can see on this one at the top there where it says plague, 2,886 people had died of the plague in that week. So that was an exciting backdrop as well, though I didn't really want to write about the plague too much because it's so horrible. Anyway, so I had lots of exciting stuff in my setting. The more I researched, the more I found exciting things. But then I needed a character, because you can't just have an exciting setting. I've tried that and it doesn't work. You need something to happen, and you need some people for it to happen to. So I thought about a few characters. One of the first things I fixed on, actually, was I was going to set it in a bookshop. And I thought about a boy and a girl and various different people. And in the end, I settled on a girl called Lizzie, who lives in a bookshop near St. Paul's Cathedral, which was good because it meant that she was right by the centre of the fire, because St. Paul's burnt down in the fire. So, and the other good thing about writing about a bookshop, which I hadn't realised when I started writing, was that booksellers like books about bookshops. So when you're trying to go into bookshops and try and encourage them, tell them, I mean, you have, you know, it's good to do this, whether you're go into bookshops and tell people about your novel, and booksellers are much more likely, if you say, oh, I've written a book about a bookshop in 1666, their eyes kind of light up. So that was good. I didn't realise they were going to do that. Bookshop in 1666 looks a bit like that. So I had fun investigating that. And as I said, the good thing about bookshops was that they were right in the centre of London by St. Paul's. So I was able to get my character right in the centre of there. And then I added a couple of boys as well, because you need a few people to make, you need a few characters to interact with each other, and friendship's really important. And one of the things about my book is it's about a sort of forbidden friendship between Lizzie and a girl she wasn't supposed to be friends with because she was kind of an enemy. She was French. So I've got my setting and I've got my characters. And then I need my plot. And I'm sure all you guys that we've heard from are probably better than me at this, but I find plots quite tricky. I kind of like the setting and I like thinking about the people, but I have to make myself write lots and lots of stuff, you know, think of lots and lots of plot, and boy, do you need a lot of plot for a novel, I discovered. So, in a plot, you basically start with, what does my character want? So, at the beginning of my book, and it's not really a spoiler because I hope you read it, but at the beginning of my book, something bad happens, and Lizzie's bookshop, where she lives, where her family live, it's her family home as well as the family business, something bad happens, which means that throughout the whole book, Lizzie is fighting to save her bookshop and fighting to save her family home. Now, obviously, you can't just let people get what they want straight away in a novel, because that would be boring. You have to have obstacles, things that are going to stop her. So all the way through the book, there's things that stop Lizzie getting what she wanted. which leads to some conflict. And I'm afraid you need a lot of conflict in a novel as well. As a person, I like everyone agreeing with everybody. I like everybody sort of getting on, but that really doesn't work in a novel. You have to introduce conflict all the time. And obstacles. So I did get some obstacles from the setting I'd chosen. So as I said, England's at war with France, and Lizzie makes friends with a French girl, and lots of people are suspicious because Lizzie and her family aren't prejudiced. Unfortunately, lots of people were very prejudiced against the French and against Catholics at the time, so I got some good conflict going on there. And people also were very worried about the year 1666. They thought something really bad was going to happen. There were all sorts of omens and prophecies, so that was quite a good thing to drip feed in as well as the other characters in my book that I could, for various reasons, which I won't tell you the whole plot because I'd really like you to buy it. So we have to work out how she's going to achieve her goal. She's got lots of obstacles. Any of your character, your main protagonist, is going to have lots of obstacles, but they've got to work out in the end how you're going to get them to achieve their goal. I mean, some novels, maybe they don't, or maybe their goal changes, but a lot of novels, they will manage to achieve their goal in the end. And I knew from the beginning that I wanted to use the Great Fire not as a destructive influence. I wanted to use it as something that was going to be a solution for Lizzie. I wanted it to be a bit different, not a complete disaster like we always think of it. And obviously it was a big disaster, but personally for Lizzie, it's going to be something that actually leads to her getting what she needs, getting her goals. So that's basically the sort of background, the structure behind the White Phoenix. And I just want to say that, congratulate all the young writers today who have been absolutely amazing. And echo lots and lots of the things they said. Just keep doing it, keep reading, keep writing, and you do have to do lots and lots of drafts, I'm sorry to say. Thank you very much.